What is going on, everybody? I am the FD Guru, bringing to you guys a Week 2 NFL video for the main slate on Sunday. We have 14 games on the slate, and it looks like FanDuel is adding the Sunday Night Football game on the main slates this year. This is not something that they usually do. I'm not a fan of it, but we'll make it work. We have 14 games. We have 3 games in the afternoon wave, and then that Sunday Night Football game, meaning that we have 9 games in the early wave. Coming off of a pretty poor Week 1, the single game slates we did well on, but the full roster slates we did not do well on. Main slate, 1 p.m., 4 p.m., nothing really great happened, but it's a new week. And, we're going to stick to the process. Hopefully we don't have a couple of, goose eggs like we did with Chuba Hubbard and Dalton Kincaid, Marvin Harrison. Those guys really screwed us up. But big Guru credit code in this video, as I will always do in my NFL videos. Give this video a like, subscribe, and put my alerts on so you don't miss any future NFL video. And NBA too. NBA is coming right around the corner within a month. So, those videos are always delivered every weekday. So for quarterback, we have a decent amount of good options. Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's going to quite run the ball like he did against the Chiefs in Week 1. That type of play is not sustainable for the whole year. From a quarterback, it looked like he really, really wanted to beat the Chiefs. They might do a little bit more of a ground and pound approach with Derrick Henry against the Raiders, especially if they're winning the game. They could do a lot more handoffs. I don't love the play. I don't love the matchup. I don't like the script. Mahomes is all right. He could always go off. But there's better times to spend up top dollar on Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, than against the Bengals. Anthony Richardson, he had a couple of deep bombs in Week 1, but, he still didn't throw for a lot of yards. I think he only completed 9 passes, which is extremely concerning. CJ Stroud looks like my, favorite spend up that I would spend up on at 8,200. I do like him at home against the Bears. This Sunday Night Football game looks like a really good game. It's a high over-under, and Stroud, I think last time I checked, is projected for the most passing yards on the slate Sunday. But the guy I'm going to put in this video at 7,900 is Jayden Daniels. He looked great. Now, we can't expect him to, rush for 2 touchdowns again, but we can expect him to rush again. The matchup couldn't be any better. The New York Giants, they could possibly end up being the worst team in football this year. I really like Daniels. He's actually projected, which is kind of crazy. He's projected for 1 more rushing yard than Lamar Jackson, which is crazy. What he did in Week 1 on the ground is no joke, though. 16 rushes, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's projected for the same amount of rushing yards as the running back, Brian Robinson. It's kind of crazy. 51.5 rushing yards is what he's projected, and Lamar Jackson's projected for 50.5. And rushing yards are obviously huge for quarterbacks. I mean, 51 rushing yards would be, 5 points, and that's without passing and without scoring. So, Daniels looks good to me at under 8K. Not because he looked great in Week 1, but more so the fact that he has a matchup against the Giants, who looked terrible and made Sam Darnold of the Vikings look really good in Week 1. So I think Jayden Daniels could do some damage. He's not in my video, but Terry McLaurin could be a good pairing with him. He missed a really deep ball to McLaurin in Week 1, which would have been like a 60-yard touchdown, and that changes everything, obviously. McLaurin, not going to put him in this video. He kind of screwed us in the 4 p.m. games last week, but he could end up being a really nice GPP piece, maybe even cash piece. You can't, especially in Week 2, you can't overreact with what players did in Week 1. Teams and, formations, they're still, getting things sorted out. A lot of these players don't even really play in the preseason, so Can't overreact in week 1. I do like Daniels a lot, though, at 7,900. Running back, it's a free square. If you want to fade him so that you're in the minority of the 10% owned, because he's going to be like 90% owned, go for it. But I'm just going to put him in this video. It would be really dumb to not pick Jordan Mason. The only reason not to pick Jordan Mason is, you get a huge leverage on, 80 to 90% of the field if he doesn't score more than 5 points. But at $5,500, if he scores anywhere from 6 to 10 fantasy points, he's hitting value. And we saw what he did in week 1 against the Jets. The Vikings on the road, it's going to be a hostile environment, but they're not as tough to run against as the New York Jets, and he absolutely cooked the Jets. 28 rushes, 147 yards, 1 touchdown. He's just an automatic play. Christian McCaffrey is a long shot to play this week, but we do want to keep an eye out on that, because in week 1, CMC was expected to play, and he got ruled out. That was funny what Jordan Mason said, saying he was, he knew he was going to start on Friday night, and the game was on Monday night, and we didn't get word that CMC was going to be out until an hour before kickoff, or, the 90-minute injury report. He was listed as questionable, expected to play for the whole week until an hour before kickoff, and Jordan Mason seemed to have known he was starting 3 days before the game, so that's a whole problem in itself. But regardless, we can assume McCaffrey is not going to play this week unless the 49ers just pull another bullshit move on the injury report. 5,500 looks great. That game is at 1 o'clock, so if for whatever reason McCaffrey does play, we'll know that before the main slate at 11:30. So 11:30 Eastern. So no problems there. Jordan Mason, automatic plug and play, free square, put him in every lineup. It's boring. Most people are going to have him, but on Monday Night Football, that slate, if you faded Jordan Mason to be, sharp, you won $0. So, you only hear about the sharp plays when they actually work. I'm more of a guy that just plays the right play and doesn't worry about ownership, because if they're expected to go off, pick them on your lineup. It's that simple to me. You could get different if you want to be weird, but do whatever you want to do. Wide receiver, another easy play. This kind of falls into the same bucket as Jordan Mason. If you want to fade him to be different, go for it. Now, wide receiver is a little bit different. You can fade guys and get away with it a little bit better off than running backs, because running backs are going to get their touches no matter what. Cooper Kupp, knock on wood, but he runs into injuries. It's, you could fade him. I'm not going to. No Puka Nacua. We saw Cooper Kupp he tied his career high with 14 catches, 21 targets, 28 fantasy points, sub 8K. His price is not right here. The matchup's fantastic against this Arizona Cardinals defense. I don't think he's priced for Puka Nacua to be out, because if Nacua was out, he would be $8,700. He's going to be projected as much as any other wide receiver in week 2. Gotta love Cooper Kupp here. I'm not going to fade him. Matthew Stafford, he showed it clear as day that he's going to be looking Cooper Kupp's way. Cooper Kupp looks 100% healthy, which is also big because he is a top, arguably speaking, top 3, 4, 5 receiver in the NFL when he is healthy and getting the type of targets that he will be getting on Sunday with no Puka Nacua. For my Guru credit code, go to my website, fd-guru.com. We're going to do a code for 20 Guru credits. You can get all NFL main slate, 1 p.m. only, 4 p.m. only slates, and then single game slates too. Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football. I do 6 slates a week. Go to the shop page. You got to be signed into an account. You can make an account. It takes all of 30 seconds. No card required. I have a little coupon bar here. This is where you buy all your usual credits. If you type in the code NFL Week 2, or sorry. Week 2 NFL 24. That's the code. Week 2 NFL 24, all caps on the letters. Hit apply coupon, and you will get 20 free credits into your account. Again, just like this video, and do subscribe so you can get more DFS information out of me and more giveaways for my website. For tight end was, I've never seen a more collective, atrocious performance from a position for DFS than week 1 tight ends. They were terrible. Whenever you see the $1 million team having Zach Ertz, and the FanDuel $1 million team had Zach Ertz, and the DraftKings $1 million team had Jawan Johnson on the Saints. When that's happening, you know the tight ends aren't doing jack shit. So hopefully we can get a better collective performance from tight ends in week 2 because there are a lot of good ones. Now, Isaiah Likely cooked, but he was on that Thursday night football game. He was not part of the main slate. He was by far the best tight end in week 1. But all the big guys did a whole lot of nothing. Laporta, whole lot of nothing. Travis Kelce, whole lot of nothing. Mark Andrews, whole lot of nothing. Isaiah Likely was the guy. George Kittle, whole lot of nothing. Who I do like, who also did a whole lot of nothing, is Trey McBride. He had 9 targets. He only caught just over 50% of them. But I really like him in week 2 against the Rams. This Rams and Cardinals game might be my favorite game on the slate. 4 o'clock window, afternoon game. Whenever we can target the 4 o'clock games, it's nice because for whatever reason, this might just be a mental thing or a personal thing. Whenever I pick a majority of my lineups for the main slate from the 1 o'clock games, it never seems to work out. It's really nice to have a handful of guys in those 4 o'clock games to look forward to because there can always be some fireworks, especially with a Rams and Cardinals matchup. McBride, only 6,200. We know what he can do. We saw what he did last year. He had some massive games. Kyler Murray's still going to look his way. 9 targets. I didn't do my research, but I'm assuming 9 targets from a tight end put him in, the top tier of targets over, most tight ends. Really, really like this play. His price dropped a little bit because of his poor performance. I really like Trey McBride. I think the Cardinals get the passing game going against this Rams defense. McBride looks really good to me. Now, one other guy I wanted to mention who looks good, saves you a ton of money. Colby Parkinson on the Rams. No Tyler Higbee. He looked good in week 1. He got a good amount of targets, 5 targets. I think a lot of it came in the first half. No Puka Nacua. He had 4 catches for 47 yards. He's only $4,800. If he gets you over 5 fantasy points, that's going to do. He's extremely cheap, almost bare minimum. So he looks really, really good at 4,800. And again, especially with obviously Higbee is on the shelf, and now Puka Nacua. So Cooper Kupp's going to be a main target, but Parkinson should be right there. He got targets even with Nacua healthy in that first quarter in week 1. So that's a guy you could go to. There's not a huge sample size with him, which is why he's only 4,800. But if you really need to save money, sub 5K, Parkinson's not a bad play. For defense, we're going to go cheap again. The Falcons D in last week's video did not pan out. I do like going cheap at defense because I think it's a little bit overrated. I don't think there's, you shouldn't overthink this position. It's kind of all luck. But the New England Patriots, $3,400. Looks pretty good at this cheap price. Looks better than any other defense down here. Maybe the Broncos at home against the Steelers. It looks like Justin Fields is going to be starting again. You could look at them. They had a good week 1, 2, 10 fantasy points. But I like the Patriots against the Seahawks at home. Crazy win against the Bengals. The biggest upset in week 1. Probably ruined a lot of you survivor pool folk out there. I'm a Patriots fan. Didn't expect it at all. I actually, for the first time ever, only watched Red Zone, so I only saw the clips of the Patriots game. I usually have a second TV to watch the full Patriots game. I didn't do that this year, and look what happens. So maybe the juju is going to be me not watching a full Patriots game because they had a crazy Week 1 win. Defense should be fine. It's another low over-under at Gillette Stadium. Seahawks offense doesn't really scare me. I think Kenneth Walker is questionable too with an oblique injury. Non-participant at Wednesday's practice, whatever, doesn't really matter. Either way, I do like the Patriots defense at this cheap price. I think they can perform again. They did well against the Bengals. Bengals offense is better than the Seahawks, so I just think it's a good cheap play. That'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let's have a huge Week 2. Again, give this video a like and subscribe. Punch in that Guru credit code, and let's have ourselves a week. Till next time, I am the FD Guru. Peace.